In our previous video, we did some CSS fixes as well as we made our images static in order to quickly load our website. I hope you guys are enjoying this video. In this video, what we'll do is we'll design pagination for the blog. Now, pagination is really an important topic, and if you have a lot of pages, you'll definitely know the worth of pagination. So what I'll do is I'll close all these tabs. I'll just open this playlist and I'll close all the other tabs. Let me go to Django admin and let me show you the structure of the blog page after adding a couple of more blogs. So I'll say this is another one, first post 2. Let me add few more. I'll just add some gibberish here, so please don't mind. I'm just adding something which doesn't even make any sense, but please excuse me for that because I don't want to add something sensible. Okay, so it's saying that please correct the error below. There is some error. What is the error? I don't even know what the error is. Okay, so it's gone now. So I'll say jQuery some numbers, save. I think that should be enough. So I've added a few gibberish blogs. So 0 of 8 selected. Let me see how many blogs are added. So there are a lot of blogs added, and let us see. I want to see only 5 of these. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I want to see rest of them on the next page. Okay, so I should be able to configure the number of blogs I want to see on this blog homepage. How do we do that? You must be thinking how to design pagination. Do we need any library for that? Do we need to borrow logic from somewhere? I think we can design pagination really very easily. So let's try this out and let's add 2 buttons first of all. So what I'll do is I'll come back to my blog home and I'll add 2 buttons. So after the for loop, what I'll do is I'll add 2 buttons. So I'll say button.btn.btn primary. Now this is from the Bootstrap framework. You can go to getbootstrap.com and grab your button. But since I remember the classes, I'm adding them as is. So I'll say previous and then I'll say next. I'll save it. Let me reload it. So previous, next, I want this next to flow to the right. So what I'll do is I can add this to the right. So what I'll do is I'll add a div dot row. So there are a lot of ways to get this done. You can choose any one. I'll simply go to Bootstrap, documentation, components, or rather I'll do Bootstrap and then I'll say float right. Let me see if I find something. Okay, so float right is a class in Bootstrap. I can add float right class to this one. And I think this will work. Float right doesn't work here. It doesn't work here because row is a flags box. I'll have to remove this class is equal to row and rather I'll put my3. Now if you don't know web development, HTML, CSS basics, let me know if you want me to design a web development series for you guys. If you want me to design this series, I'm ready to make videos, but you'll have to share the channel, you'll have to support me, and definitely I'll bring a lot of free courses for you. So we have this previous button, we have this next button. So let me go to internet and I'll say previous HTML code ampersand. I think it's ampersand prev. Let me see if I can find something. Previous button, next button. Okay, so it's called LAQUO and RAQUO. Let me see how it works. So LAQUO and RAQUO. Let me see what this gives me. Reload. Okay, I think this looks good. I'll add a space here. I'll just add a space and this should look fine. And I'm not designing it very well. I think it should be enough. This should be fine. So what I want is I want to show only 3 posts on one page and I want to throw rest of the posts on the next page onwards. Okay. So what I'll do is whenever somebody clicks on next, I'll pass question mark page is equal to 2. Okay, so I'll say question mark page is equal to 2. And whenever page is 2, I want Django to start the post from, say if there are 3 posts, then I want it to start from the 4th post onwards and display 3 posts from there. How to achieve that? How to achieve this pagination? We'll have to write the logic. So whenever somebody is coming to this blog post page, or rather the blog page, because this is the blog home page, I'll say number of posts is equal to say 3. Now what I'll do is I'll say if request.get, and let me print request.get page number. Let me print this thing. So I'll print this thing. So these are the things that you'll not remember over the period of time. So you'll have to print and see how this looks. So let me see how this looks. I'll print request.get and I'll see the console, what it prints. So whenever I reload this page, request.get prints a dictionary where page is equal to 2. I think that's fine. But what if the page is not equal to 2? Does it print a blank dictionary? Let me find out. Yes, it does. And if I try to query it with page number, does it throw an error, or does it tell me that it doesn't exist, or is it none? Okay, so it is none. So what I'll do is I'll say if the page number is not set, that is if the page number is none, I'll say if page is none. And what is page? Page is this thing. Page is equal to request.get.get page number. Okay. And if page is none, you set the page to say 1, page number 1. Else what you do is, else you set the page to integer version of page. Okay. So if the page is none, you'll set the page to 1. If the page is not none, you'll set the page to integer version of the page. So if I print page here, I should get 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. Okay, so if it is nothing, I'll find this 1 being printed on the console because it's none. But if I say question mark page is equal to 3, it'll show me the number 3 here. It's showing me 1. I don't know why. Let me see. Okay, so page number, not page. I'll say page number. Rather, what I'll do is I'll make this one page. So let me reload this. 3 is being printed, so the logic works fine so far. So I have very cleverly scraped the page from the URL. I have this page inside the page URL now. How do I fetch the 3 blogs from this page? So what I'll do is, if the page number is 0, let me create the table for you so that you can understand this. Okay, so if the page number is not 0, if the page number is 1, what do I want? I want the blog post from 0 to 3. If the page number is 2, what do I want? Let me make it colon. I want the blog from 4 to 4, 5, 6. I want a blog from 4 to 6. And then when the page number is 3, what I want the blog from page number 7 to 9. Okay, I hope you're getting the logic. I'm just thinking out loud. I just want to think out loud and let you know how I'm thinking. So what I'm doing is I'm saying when the page number is 1, I'll fetch the blog post from 0 to 3. When the page number is 2, I'll fetch the blog from 4 to 6. And when the page number is 3, I'll get the blogs from number 7 to number 9, and I'll send it to the HTML page. But how do I make it dynamic? How do I link it with this page variable? So what I'll do is I'll say 0 multiply by page, and I'll make this one 3 multiply by, or rather I'll say minus, not minus, this is a dash, I'm sorry. So 0 multiply by page dash from 0 multiply by page to page. Okay, so if the page number is 3, I'll say from 0 to 3, show all the blog posts. Now, then once again, what I'll do is I'll say when the page number is 2, this will be from 0 to 2, which will be a problem. So what I'll have to do is I'll have to design it such that this schema fits. Okay, so I'll have to design the formula which fits the schema. So I'll have to design a formula which gives me 0 to 3 when the page value is 1, and it gives me 4 to 6 when the value of page is 2, and it gives me 7 to 9 when the value of page is 3. What is that formula? Let's find out. If I make page multiply by, so this thing is page multiply by, or rather page minus 1 multiply by, it's page minus 1 multiply by say 2. I think I'm making a mistake here. 0 to 3, then 4 5 6 0, it should be 4 to 7, and because 7 minus 4 is 3, 3 minus 0 is 3, and 9 minus 7, okay, let me make it 8, because see, we are adding 3 here, so 8 plus 3 is 11. So I think this is the right combination. I'll have to design it this way. So what I'll do is, I'll say this is page minus 1 multiplied by 2. Let me see if this fits in. So when the page is 1, this works. When the page is 2, this works. When the page is 3, when the page is 2, it doesn't work. Okay, so let us look at it this way. I made a mistake here. I should write 0 to 3, then 4 to 7, then 8 to 11. How will the first page look like? First page will look like 0 to 0 plus number of pages, okay? Number of, I should say number of posts. Yeah, it's called number of posts. Let me copy it. So it's number of posts. So from 0 to 0 plus number of posts. Then when I'm going to the next page, what I'll do is I'll say from number of posts to, from number of posts to number of posts plus number of posts. So from number of posts to number of posts plus number of posts, okay? Then once again from number of posts plus number of posts to number of posts plus number of posts plus number of posts, okay? So this is how it's going to look like. So if I design it in a Pythonic manner, so 0 to 3, then index 3 to, I'll have to make it 3 to say 3, 4, 5, 0 to 3, then I'll have to add 3 once again, so 3 to 6, and then 6 to 9, okay? So 6, 7, 8. So we are fetching 3 posts at once. So this is how it will look in a Pythonic way, okay? So if you are going with numeric way, then you will write 0 to 3, then from 4 to something. I'm just trying to think out loud here, and I don't want to make the logic and keep it and show you the logic. I just want to design the logic in front of you so that you can also learn how to design logic like these. So if I think in a Pythonic manner, the index from 0 to 3 will be shown when the page number is 1. The index from 3 to 6 will be shown when the page number is 2. And when you are slicing a Python list, you should know that when you say from 0 to 3, the 3 is excluded and 0 is included. When you say 3 to 6, 6 is excluded and 3 is included. And when you say 6 to 9, 9 is excluded and 6 is included. So we'll use the Python list slicing, okay? So this is how I'll write it in a Pythonic way. And for page number 1, this is going to be the condition. For page number 2, this is going to be the condition. And for page number 3, this is going to be the condition, okay? So from this much to this much. So if I were to design it in terms of the number of posts, so I'll make it 2 from a number of posts to number of posts multiplied by 2, then multiply by 3. So here it's getting multiplied by the number of pages or the page number, okay? So what I'll do is I'll write this formula as page number minus 1, page number minus 1. This is page number minus 1 because here it's 2, here it's here is 1, 2 minus 1 is 1, here it's 2, 3 minus 1 is 2, so it's page number minus 1 here, and then 2 page number minus 1 plus 1, that is page number multiply by number of posts. So this is how pagination will work, okay? So what I'll do is I'll simply slice my list from page number minus 1 to page number multiplied by number of posts. So if you put page number 1 here, it will become from 0 to number of posts. If you write 2 here, then this will become from 1. Okay, so I made a mistake once again. I should multiply this with number of posts, because this is 1 into number of posts. This is 2 into number of posts. That is page number minus 1 multiplied by number of posts. So this is little bit, I should not call it complex because it's pretty straightforward, but you might have to spend some time. I created this logic on the fly in front of you, so it took me some time. I don't remember the logic that I create. I might have created this logic in the past, but once again I created it in front of you. So I hope you like the logic, and let us see the logic works or not. You liking the logic is not as important as Django liking the logic. If Django likes the logic, this will work, and if Django doesn't like the logic, it will not work. So Django should like the logic first. Okay, so let us see if it works. So let me see if it is rendering the blocks in this fashion or not. So let me reload it, saying page number is not defined. What is that? Okay, so I should call it page and not page number. Page, this is page. Let me save. Okay, reload. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, so it has disappointed me yet again. Blocks is equal to blocks dot object dot all, and when I'm slicing it, I think it's giving me all the posts. So I said number of posts is equal to 3. Why is it rendering all the posts? There is some problem here. So let me reload this once again. Okay, so I'm saying page number 3, which is why it's showing me all the posts. Let me call page number is equal to 1 or 2. 1 2 3 4 5. Okay, I think it works. It works. Number of posts here is, the number of posts is 3. Why is it showing me 5 posts? There is some problem here. When the number of posts is 3 and the page number is 2, let us see what formula returns. Number of posts 3 and page number 2. When number of posts is 3 and page number is 2. Okay, so I didn't multiply this here. My bad. I should have written this here as well. I know most of you guys must have noticed this while I'm typing, but I make these silly mistakes. Please excuse me for these. Let me reload, and yes, it works. 1 2 3. And let me say page number is equal to 3. Yes, it works. It works. And when page number is 4, nothing is shown. So what we'll do now is we'll do one thing. We'll add these page numbers to the buttons as well. So what I'll do is I'll pass this page to the context. Okay, so I'll add this page to the context, or rather what I'll do is I'll add previous and next to the context. Okay, so previous and next, and let me call it nxt because next is already a function in Python, so let us not mess with that. So previous page will be page -1, and next will be page +1, but it's not that easy because you know what, when your page number is 1, you don't want to return 0. So what you'll do is you'll say previous is equal to page -1. You'll say if previous is greater than 1, it is greater than 1, then you will say previous is equal to page -1, else previous will be none. There will be no previous. Same goes with the next. If what I'll do is I'll say if next is, or rather I should call it page, not previous. If page is greater than 1, then previous will be page -1. Here what I'll do is I'll say if page is less than some number, we'll find that number. If page is less than that number, then next is equal to next +1, or page +1. I'm sorry, next is equal to page +1. So what is that number? When we have say 3 posts on one page, what is that number? Let's find out. So when we have, let me open this blog. I think I made a mistake here. So let me call it 0 so that this loads. Okay, I'll have to add a colon as well. Let me reload this. So it's saying that next has been referenced before the assignment. Okay, so there is a problem here. Let me fix this. When page is greater than 1, previous is equal to page -1, else previous is equal to none. This makes total sense. But if page is less than 0, what I'll do is next is equal to page +1, otherwise next is none. Okay, but this will not be 0. I'll tell you what it is. Else nxt is equal to none. Okay, so how many maximum pages will you have? How will you calculate the last page? I just want to make sure that this is not the last page. Page should not be the last page. Page should be less than the last page. What will be the last page? The last page will be a number of posts that you want to display on one page, or rather what should I say? I should say blogs.objects.all.length, the total number of blog posts. So I'll have to do something like this, and here I'll say length is equal to blocks, length of blocks. Okay, I'll say if page is less than length divided by number of posts. Now this will give me something point something. If there are 4 pages, it will give me 3 point something. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll make it seal of length divided by number of posts, and I'll have to import math here. So math.seal. Okay, so I'm using the seal function. So seal function will make 3.67. It will convert this to 4. 5.66 will be converted to 6. Let me show you here. This is important to grasp, otherwise you will not understand what I'm doing. Import math seal. If it is 3.55, 4 is return. If it is 7.55, 8 is return. So it is basically returning me the number of pages that my blog should have. Okay, number of pages that my blog should have. So the point I want to make here is that if I'm showing the last page to my user, I don't want my user to navigate to the next page. So I'm saying that if page is less than math.seal, and let me comment this out because this is not a valid code. If the page is less than math.seal length divided by number of posts, then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, you are qualified to get a next page. Otherwise you are not qualified to get a next page, and the next is going to be none. Okay, cool. So I think I've written this twice, no problems. Control S to save. And then what I'll do is I'll come to my blog home.html, and what I'll do is I'll say if, I'll use if from Jinja. I'll say if previous, if the previous is not none, if prev means that if the previous is not none, then what I'll do is I'll add a href is equal to anchor tag href is equal to, and I will be adding the previous link here. So I'll say previous, and then what I'll do is I'll move this thing to the end of this previous. Otherwise what I'll do is I'll say else, otherwise this thing is going to be this hash. So you're not going anywhere, you'll remain on the same page. There is no previous for you. Similarly, what I'll do is I'll implement the same logic for my next. Let me copy this. Let me copy this thing, Control X, Control V, and I'll have to add this float right class as well because I want it to float towards the right. Control S to save, and I'll have to add this next. So let me copy this anchor tag, Control V to paste, Control S. And if I reload this, you can see that the previous and next is here, but there is a problem that this previous is by default being shown as blue color. So let me change the color. I'll give it a class of text. It's light if I'm not wrong. Yes, it is text light if I'm not wrong. Let me see if it is text light. It should be text light. Yes, it is text light. So next is being shown correctly. Let me add this text light to previous as well. So I'll use multi-cursor functionality from VS Code. So what I'm doing is I'm pressing the Alt and holding it, and wherever I click, I'll see a new cursor. So I can paste whatever I want. And then once again, I can click somewhere else to get rid of these multiple cursors. Okay. So I hope that this is making sense now. Let me reload this. It is being shown in previous as well, but there is a problem. The next is not a valid link here. So what I'll do is I'll make sure the logic is correct, and at the same time the link should be, let me see if I'm referring to the correct variable or not. So next is equal to page plus 1 if page is less than math.seal length divided by number of posts. So let me print length here and see what it prints, because this is something that you'll have to test. If you're making a logic like this, you will have to test it again and again to make sure that it works. So it is showing me the page number and the length is 8. Then 8 divided by number of posts will be 8 divided by 3, which will be 2 point something. So page will be less than 3. So I think it should show me next is equal to page plus 1. So let me see what it shows me when I'm going to the next page. But it is showing me hash. So let me see what is going wrong here. What I'll do is I'll print and I'll remove all the print statements. Wherever I'm saying print something, I'll remove those statements. I'll say print previous and next. And let me see what previous and next are. So for the first page, previous has to be hash. Next should not be hash. So next should not be null. Next is 2. So I think I'm doing something wrong here. So I'm saying if previous here, I should say if next here. And I should say if nxt here. I think it will be right now. So let me reload this. Okay, so when I'm reloading this, I'm again not seeing the correct next here. So I'll have to make sure that everything is right. So I'm saying that if next, which means that if next is not null, what I'll have to do is I'll say this should be my, okay, so I'll have to add href is equal to, I'll have to add the correct href as well. I have not added the correct href here. I'll explain the logic once again. So don't worry about it. I'll explain you the logic once again. I'll say slash block slash page is equal to, or rather slash block question mark page is equal to this thing. And I'll have to add the same thing here as well to make it a valid link. Reload it and I'll go to the next page. Page is equal to 2, page is equal to 3. And this is the last page. So I'm not seeing anything else here. So it's hash here. So I cannot go further anymore. If I come back, page number 2, page number 1, and then I cannot go any further back. Okay. So I hope that this is making sense to you, but how did I do this and how is this logic working? Let us understand once again, because let me be honest here, while I was designing the logic on the fly during the video, I think it was not very clear what I was doing. So let me now explain you what I was doing. So we have the number of posts that we want to, okay, so let us change the number of posts to 4. Let's see if it works. So I'll go to blog 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me go to the next page. Page is 1 at this point. So I should see page number 2. Then I should say no page number 3 because there are only 8 posts inside the database. Okay. Previous, next, I think we are good. Okay. So let me explain how this thing is working. So we have number of posts here and we have page number here. Number of posts is defined by the user. So we can come back to this views.py and we can change the number of posts to say 3 or 5 or 6, whatever we want to see. We can even change it to 10 if we want to see 10 posts per page. But at this point I've made it 3. So let me make it 3. Now what I'll do is I'll find the page number. I'll say, do I have the page number in the URL? Is there any question mark page is equal to something in the URL? Now there might be a page. There might not be a page. If there is a page, what I'll do is I'll grab the number of the page. But if there is no page, which means that the page is none, I'll set the page to 1. That means that the page is 1. Okay. Otherwise, if the page is given in the URL, I'll typecast it to integer because by default request.get will return a string. Okay, so you'll have to typecast it to integer, otherwise you will not be able to perform integer operations with this page variable. So now the page is an integer. Now what I'll do is I'll find out the slices for my blog.objects.all. The plan is to grab all the blog posts from the database, and then what I'll do is I'll find the number of the blog posts that I want to display. So the index of the blog post that I want to display on the first page is 0, 1, and 2. Index of the blog post that I want to see in the next page is 3, 4, and 5 because 0, 1, 2 were displayed on the first page. So on the second page, I'll see 3, 4, and 5. Similarly, I'll see 6 and 7 on the last page. Okay. So how do I design this? Let me come back to this logic. So what I'm saying is I'm saying that from 0 to 2 should be the number of blog posts that I want to display on the first page. 0, 1, 2. Okay. Now in order to do slicing in Python, we'll have to give the first number which has to be inclusive of the index. Okay, so the thing is that when I'm saying blog is equal to blog.objects.all 0 to 1, it will only give me the first element in the list. If I'm saying 0 to 3, it will give me 0, 1 and 2. This one is not inclusive. This one is also not inclusive. This is inclusive of the elements in the list. Okay, so it will give me 0, 1 and 2. This will give me 3, 4 and 5. This will give me 6, 7 and 8, but not 9. Okay, so these are the number, or rather the index of the blog post that I want to pull from the database. Okay, so what I'm doing now is I'm writing these numbers in terms of the pages and the number of posts. So what I'm doing is I'm saying for the first page, I want to take 0 to 0 plus number of posts, which is 3. For the second page, what I'm doing is I'm taking number of posts to number of posts plus number of posts, because I want to show the number of posts. This minus this has to be the number of posts. Just think about it. Now, after I wrote this, I want to write a formula that can generalize this thing. The formula that can generalize this thing is page number minus 1 multiplied by number of posts to page number multiplied by number of posts. And if you subtract this, if you do this minus this, if you subtract this from this, you'll get number of posts. Okay, so you can do that. If you want to try, you can try that. This minus this will be number of posts. So you can take this minus this, you'll find that it is equal to number of posts. So we are showing the number of posts in the page, okay, in a given page. So if the number of posts is 3, we will show 3 posts on one page. So what we are doing now is we are grabbing the length of all the blogs. So it can be 80, it can be 1000, it can be 2000, it can be 10,000 if you are owning a big blog. But at the end of the day, what you're doing is you are slicing the blog. Okay, you're slicing it, and once you slice it, it will pull the blog from the database whose index you have given. So if you have 1000 blogs in your database and you're saying give me the blog from 6 to 9, it will pull 6, 7 and 8 for you. So at the end of the day, you'll have 6, 7 and 8 inside the blogs, and you're passing it to your blog home.html page. And after you pass it to blog home.html page, you can display it there. But again, we need to design pagination as well. We need to have some mechanism to get the next page and the previous page. Now it's pretty simple to get the next page. You just add 1. And it's also very simple to get the previous page. You can do page minus 1. But what if you are on the last page? On the last page, there should be no next page, because if you try to go to the next page, you will get some error, and we do not want the end user to see any sort of error. Okay, so what we are doing is we are saying that if the page number is greater than 1, then previous is equal to page minus 1. Otherwise, previous is not page minus 1, it is none. Similarly, if page is less than the last page, this is representing the last page number. If it is less than the last page number, then the next is page plus 1. Otherwise, next is none, which means that there is no next page. I do not want to display any next page for the user because there is no next page. I'll not be able to pull any blog post if I display that page. So I don't want to display that page. Okay. Now coming back to blog home, let me save this file. Coming back to blog home, I'm just checking if next is say none. Then what I'm doing is if it is none, I am displaying this thing. I'm displaying href is equal to hash. But if it is not none, so you must know that if returns true when it is given a non-zero integer. So this will return true whenever next is not none. Okay, so whenever next is not none, you will see this, which means you will see the next page. Same goes with previous as well. Whenever you say if previous, you will see the previous page if previous is not none. But if previous is none, it will go to when previous is none, this condition will be false and it will go to else, and you will see this. Okay, and you can see that this is working. The logic is working, and this is the same logic which is used by all the plugins that you might use, be it simple pagination, be it jQuery data tables. You might have come across a lot of plugins. You can use them, there's no problem with that, but we can design a very simple pagination logic using this. And if you understand this well, then I think you can code anything inside your Django blog now. This was a little bit mathematical, but I think it was worth it at the end. Now at the end, what I'll do is I'll make these buttons smaller in size, because I don't want my previous and next button to look smaller or equal to these buttons. So let me come back to button and I'll find the smaller button. I'm just looking for a button which looks little smaller than the normal button. I think it's called BTN SM if I'm not wrong. I don't know where it is. So I'll just simply search BTN SM Bootstrap 4 buttons. It's here. If I search for SM, so it's saying that you can use this small button by adding BTN SM. Let me add this BTN SM here. Where is my BTN? It's here. So I'll add this to all the read more. And let me see if it works. Reload. Okay, so this looks a little smaller than normal and I think it's totally fine. I might as well change this previous and next to green. So if I want to do that, what I'll do is instead of primary, I'll call it success. And I'll save it and reload it and they are turned to green now. So you can design your websites however you want. If it doesn't look good to you, you can change it, or maybe you can make this read more as outline. It's totally on you. You can design your website however you want to. This was not looking good, so let me change it to BTN outline. I think it's BTN outline primary if I'm not wrong. Let me check. I just want to search outline here. I'm looking for outline. I'm not looking for BTN. Okay, so BTN outline is the class. So BTN outline primary. So this is the class. Let me see how it looks. Reload. Okay, so this looks fine now. I think this looks better. Another one, then whenever I move my cursor to this read more, it gets highlighted. I think this is fine now. I can go to previous page. Once again, I can go to next page, and it's loading really very fast. If you use some WordPress or Joomla or some other CMS, I think it will be really very slow due to the plugins. Given the same strength of the server, same power, CPU and RAM of the server, you will find that your Django websites are way better than your WordPress or other CMS websites, because you have the entire control. Django is modern, advanced, and last but not the least, it is Pythonic, which is something that we are looking for at this point in 2020. We are looking for something which is Pythonic in nature. We want something which can give us that feeling of code that we want in this modern times. Okay, so in the next video, we'll come back, and I hope that you are able to digest the logic that I created in this video. But we'll come back in the next video and we'll design the contact page. And we'll see how we can create another model and we can save the contact details of a given user. And I hope you like this video and you have accessed the playlist. If you haven't already done that, I want you guys to head to this playlist. You can go to the description. I've given a link to this playlist in the description. You can take it and click here to bookmark it and click here to save it, and also like this video if you want to support me on this channel. I'll create a lot of videos on this channel given you support me. So if you guys can support me, please do that by sharing this channel, by liking my videos. Thank you so much guys for watching this video, and I will see you next time.